My name is Thomas Ackerman, and I would like to introduce to you another show that I prepared. Now, this is not a complete show. It's a sampling, and I will have in the DVD or the CD, I will include the files that have the other images of this show. It's an extensive show. There's probably about 30 paintings in this particular show, and it's called the Fukushima Paintings. And the Fukushima Paintings started probably, this is interesting, over 3 years ago, before Fukushima had occurred. And Fukushima, as you well know, is the most monumental disaster ever to have occurred on our planet outside of a meteor hitting us. This is how I have assessed and understood it through my research. And as far as I'm concerned, the only art worth making for me at this point is related to this disaster because it is epic. So these paintings reflect my deepest concern for this horrendous disaster of radiation going into the ocean, going into the air, radiating all, preparing us for lethal diseases, cancers, and death in the millions, I believe. So this is why I have created these set of paintings. And now, as I mentioned, I started the show, interestingly, 3 years ago before the disaster. And it is from a show that I have adapted to fit into this work, which is continuing to grow, and it was called The Gates of Hell. And The Gates of Hell, if you pan over there, you see two examples of the Gates of Hell on that side, which were the beginning of this particular show. So these particular series of paintings that I call The Gates of Hell, which reference the ignominious gates of Auschwitz as people came in, and the infamous gate that had a slogan that said, Arbeit macht frei, work frees us, a ridiculous slogan on the top to fool people as they were going in. And I replaced these slogans at the time with my own. In this particular one it says, read my lips. And I will show you a few more of the examples from The Gates of Hell, which fit into this Fukushima show for me very well. And this is another edition, and of course, this over the gates say Fukushima. Obviously, the reference should be fairly clear and obvious. Now, I'd like to just briefly go into these paintings. They're mostly, these sizes are mostly maybe 60 inches by 68 inches, whether horizontal or vertical. Some of the images of, now directly Fukushima, and if you can zoom in on this where my finger is, you will recognize a particular logo which appears on all of the Fukushima paintings over the last 2 years or a year and a half since this disaster preoccupied me. I created a logo, and I reproduced this particular logo, and it says, now I am become death, destroyer of worlds, with the famous image of the Shiva. That is a well-known sculpture. Krishna in another form is Shiva, a female kind of figure, but is actually male in the mythology, Indian mythology. So I created this particular logo that is on all of the Fukushima paintings after the disaster began. Before, the logo is the gate, the shape of the gate over Auschwitz. And this logo is repeated on every painting. Now, as you can see, I am somewhat playful in some of my paintings, even in the face of this enormous epic disaster, monster, tragedy we're looking at. I'm obviously still having a sense of humor to some extent. And you can see this in the image. This is a Shay character laid out inside a cow. Anyway, I'm not going to go into explanations on the imagery so much, but one thing that I want to refer to in all of these paintings, what you will see is, and I have included a sample of the surface of these paintings, the way they look. I want you to see what the surface of this painting, of these paintings, the series of paintings, look like. And this is in the last 2 years. My process has evolved, and these are very unique, and they're very original surfaces. I don't use any kind of varnishes or glazes or shiny material. It's just oil paint with a special mix of medium that I have developed, that I mix in with my oil paint in order to get the effect that I do. And the paintings look the way they do. It's the best way I could describe it is if you imagine Morris Louis pouring or Jackson Pollock dripping. The action of how he held his brush, his stick, the can, the pouring, became the painting in a sense. And what I'm doing with this new process of painting is I'm giving myself up to serendipity or the elements of chance. And even though it looks fairly rigorous, the imagery is quite distinct in many ways, but it's also very, very fluid, which is something that I really appreciate and enjoy when I work. I'm not attempting to recreate the universe in a real manner. I'm looking to represent something that is deeper than just what is appearing in front of our face. And I've developed a way of painting that actually does what I want to do. And again, here you see, this is the Shay character. I like Shay, the revolutionary, and I feel myself to be a revolutionary in this process, in the way I'm painting. I feel at this point in time that I have come across a way of working that is so unique and revolutionary, and it demands attention. Whether or not you appreciate this, I hope you do. I will include a sample, like I said, of the surface, and my talking here gives you an idea of the scale. And as I said, there's about 30-35 paintings in this particular show, and it's called the Fukushima Paintings.